Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Andy Oshroff, and I'm the director of USM's Career and Employment Hub. And we are here with our last panel of the day, which is with a group of fantastic employers. And they're going to talk a little bit about what they see from internships from their side of things. And so I think to begin, what we'll do is just kind of go down the line here and have folks introduce themselves, maybe their name, their role, and the organization that they work with. If you'd like to start, that'd be great.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jen Hughes. I'm the Director of People and Culture at Systems Engineering. We are a 100% employee-owned IT managed services company. So we are outsourced IT for small to medium-sized businesses.
Good afternoon. I am Matt Rothman, the manager of early talent development at Hannaford Supermarkets. And we are just that, a supermarket, but we are a lot more. And I graduated USM a number of years ago.
I'm Jennifer London. I am the company manager and apprentice coordinator at Portland Stage, which is a local LORT theater here in Maine. And we put on production. I was like, we don't sell anything, but we sell art.
Hello, I'm Mariah Farrell. I'm a research associate over at Maine Health Institute for Research, and I'm in the Reagan Laboratory, which is a lab that focuses on cancer.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And yeah, thank you for being a part of the panel this afternoon. I think where we'd like to start is just to start with the why. So why internships? Why are these important to you and your organization? And maybe I'll kind of skip over Jen and start with Matt, and I don't know, I'll try and mix it up, but we'll see.
Fair enough. So internships are personal to me. One, because I never did internships when I was in school. And two, when I was at Hannaford, I had to have an intern and I didn't give them a great experience. But so at Hannaford, we really try to have internships that expose associates to the broader organization. Like I said, we're a supermarket, but there's a lot behind the scenes. So whether our interns come in from a retail perspective, or they work in finance or marketing, we really try to give them a full understanding of our organization so they can leave not only knowing more about our company and their potential opportunities with us, but also so they can be positive ambassadors for us out in the community to really showcase we are more than just that retailer. But that's what makes us Hannaford.
Awesome.
Portland Stage has apprentices, interns, to help build our new foundation of artists. So every year people are coming out of college and they're ready to enter the workforce in theater. And so the apprenticeship is there to build on skills that they've already gathered while at USM or wherever they're from, and then give them real professional theater experience, or professional experience in the art form or the art way of marketing and development and things like that, not just necessarily on the stage. So for us, the internships is so important because it's a way to kind of get out of academia, which especially in the theater world is very different. And so we just try to find ways to incorporate them through all of our process from beginning to end to make sure that they kind of get a very well-rounded experience outside of the academic umbrella.
I actually was a USM intern through the Maine Health Institute for Research in 2016. And I remember when I was in class here, a professor said, anyone who loves science is a scientist. And I just fell in love with the idea. So it's just a chance for real life application of some of the things that you learn in labs here at USM. And I work side by side with our USM intern that we have this year. And it's a very invigorating reminder of what's so cool about science. You get to see it through their eyes, and it's an opportunity to explore some things that you didn't know about at all from using microscopes and some other hands-on tools. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so for us, I echo everything that everybody else has said. So for systems engineering being embedded, we're headquartered in Portland, and we have an office in Manchester, New Hampshire. But the internship program is both a initiative within our community impact initiative, a community impact strategy, and our workforce development initiative. And so our interns are coming in, and they give us a ton of energy across all of our staff. Our staff love mentoring and supporting early career folks, especially in IT careers across network engineering, project management, or business development. And we really pride ourselves on offering a best-in-class experience where individuals and students come in, they get to take what they've learned in the classrooms here at USM. Maybe it's in the cybersecurity program, and they get to apply it real time and work on meaningful projects, work in real live network environments of customers, and working, in the IT, working with IT, and applying those skills. And so and we hire a lot of our interns into full-time positions with us. So it's a really viable strategy for building folks and building this tech talent pipeline in Maine and beyond. So that's why we're so passionate about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So if I'm a student and I'm sold, I want an internship or an experience, what should I do? Where should I start? When should I start looking? So what does that process look like from the student perspective of just kind of like, where do I go now? What are some of the steps I should take? Start here.
I mean, in the general sense, it would be whenever you realize you wanted an internship, you should take it. So like there are always internships around that you could do while you're in college, during the summer, or once you've graduated. So that would be like the base advice of just like, there's an internship out there for you. You just have to look for it.
Just get going.
For Portland State specifically, our internships, you should be out of college for them. You don't have to have gone to college for them, but it's a 9-month internship that starts in like late August, early September, and runs all the way through May. And the best way to do that is we open our applications right after the new year. And we usually have someone hired in each of our 12 positions by like mid-April.
Awesome.
Awesome. I think there's 2 different ways to do internships with Maine Health Institute for Research. There's the one that USM does during the academic year, which is about 10 to 15 hours a week. And you can reach out to Dave Champlin. He's our liaison between USM and Maine Health Institute for Research. And then there's a 10-week intensive 40 hours a week program that you would apply through the Research Institute in order to find a lab. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So for our cycle, we have a 13-week traditional summer internship program. We really tend to focus on rising juniors, rising seniors, and our application process opens on December 1st. And so we post the positions, and then it's a rolling screening process. So we're really using December to have candidates submit their materials. And then in the new year, we start doing the phone screening process. And then interviews with hiring teams really start in February, and we extend offers in March. And so we're locking you in for that May start date, and hopefully getting you a decision early. The other side of that question, which is when should you start looking? You should always be looking. You should always be looking at great companies and finding a company that's really going to align with who you are and your values and what you're looking for. That should just never stop. But usually most employers are in the end of year is like starting to get your materials ready and having those conversations. So, when those applications are that process is open, you can move forward as fast as possible.
At Hannaford, we have internship postings out there today, so go and apply. Don't need to point at the screen. So we have 2 different types of internship opportunities. We have ones based in retail operations. So as long as you can see a Hannaford store in the town you live in, you could have an opportunity to do an in-person internship there for the summer. So if you weren't local to the Southern Maine area and you were from upstate New York, you could still have that internship opportunity with us. And then equally so, on the other side, we have about a dozen internships out of our corporate office. And those range from finance and marketing, like I said, but we usually have a couple that are really into creative writing, where we take in portfolios from students every year and do a lot of internal storytelling. We've had some that require students to have drones and be photographers. It kind of changes every year. But the beauty of our internships is they're all based on real organizational needs in the moment. So right now we are putting out our feelers to catch anybody interested in us as a brand. And then come December, those who have applied, we will showcase you those different opportunities. And from there, you can choose which pools you think you'd be a good fit for. And we go through there. And then similar to my colleague here, we start interviewing through the holidays into January, and then try to have offers out by the end of February, early March, as much as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you all so much. So for those listening, there is some variability between when jobs are posted and what the process looks like. So I think it is some sage wisdom to find an organization or brand or an industry that you're interested in and do some research and figure out when those dates are so that you can be ready for when they happen. So yeah, the search starts now. But okay, so if I'm a student and I've identified your organization as you're the one that I'd like to apply for, from your side of the table, what are you looking for in an intern? And I get this question a lot from students. You know, I don't have much experience yet to put on my resume. Is that a challenge for being able to get the opportunity to get the internship? So we'll start at the end. What are you looking for in interns?
Yeah, someone who's just excited to be with you. You know, for us, hopefully you're more centered around science for your enthusiasm. But if you're willing to get your hands dirty and be side by side with someone who will teach you and be open-minded and dedicated and hardworking. That's all it takes.
Awesome. Love that. Just those foundational, like, just be ready to get involved.
Yeah, we don't expect anyone to have like insane pipetting skills, or we'll teach you how to do all of that right at the bench.
Awesome.
I would add that enthusiasm and eagerness in our industry, it's for technology, and the attitude of problem solving. So the thing about experience is that all experience counts. We are in IT, which means we're working with people all the time. And so customer service is a core skill for every single one of our positions. And so, you know, whether that's you've had experience here on campus in a work study job, or you've interacted with people maybe in hospitality or food service, that matters. We want to see that. And then the other piece is that we also look for people who have done we like to hear that you've done your research on our company. That's a really, really important piece for us in recruiting, is that there's some connection as to our company and why you're interested in us. And we want to hear that for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I think from a Hannaford perspective, we're degree agnostic. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or you're a grad student, you could be qualified for those roles, but it really is what you bring to the table and how you show up. We had an excellent freshman this past year, and he was on 207 for one of the things he did because he's so impressive. And on paper, someone might have just discarded, we only go these grade levels. Like, well, let's take another look. And the things that individual had done through high school and that was able to showcase really stood out. So for us, it's having the energy and showing up, but then also being able to demonstrate what you have done and also the connection to the brand, right? I'm willing to train you if I think there's a future between you and I, but you could be super smart. But if I know it's going to be a high and by summer, we might be looking the other way.
Echoing a bit of what Matt said, we are always looking for people who want to be there. If you are a good person who like has a smile on your face and you're ready to learn whatever we can teach you, that's the best candidate for me. Finding those folks who know what they want is also helpful. You don't necessarily need to know, like, here's my 5-year plan and you fit into it, but knowing I want to get this out of the apprenticeship or the internship is going to be the best for us to be able to find where you fit in well. We have every season, we have specific apprenticeships that we are looking for. But then there's always a couple that we just have in kind of a loosey-goosey world to see what we get, kind of what you were saying. And so we might have this, we could make it an apprenticeship just for you if there's something that you think Portland Stage can teach you. Or you could teach us, which is something that we're really open to. Our entire existence in the theater and art world is in collaboration. And so we're looking for individuals who want to collaborate with us and want to help us put on all of these wonderful shows for our Portland community.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love the emphasis on flexibility and kind of finding a good fit too. Okay, so for students, there can be a lot of anxiety around the first day. You know, they've made it through all of this process, and then, you know, the terror sets in of, oh, I need to, like, what am I going to be expected to know? Where am I going to be expected to go? What kind of conversations am I going to have? What do I need to remember? So maybe we could just, what does the first day look like for an intern? And I think we're starting back at the top. I'm all right. I'm keeping okay with the order here.
So in advance of the first day, I would say, make sure you're reading all of your email. Usually we are communicating by email. That is business communications. That's a big skill that we actually really pride ourselves in teaching in the summer for the internship program. But all of your instructions around your first day are going to be in that email, and take some time. And, you know, all questions are important. Parking, and what door do I go in? All of that is important, but employers are responsible for setting you up for success. So you're usually getting that information. I would say show up and be really open-minded, be prepared to ask a lot of questions, and it's okay. We hired you because we saw these qualities that we were just talking about. And so the hard part is done. It's celebratory. I think it's natural to be a little nervous. The employer is also a little nervous too. Every internship class I start, I'm nervous going into that first day as well. So you're not alone. And just being able to show up positive, professional, a smile goes a long way. And I would also just add, please be on time. That is your, or be in communication if you're having challenges. So those are just some things, and you'll figure it all out. And we all have first days. We've all had first days. So you're not alone.
First days with a Hannaford internship are pretty cool because you hang out with me all day. You get your equipment, you get tours of the facility, you understand. We kind of give you some high level intro to tools, systems, processes, what the summer will look like. And then you realize we have a very busy schedule for you aside from whatever your day job will be. So usually the first day is like meeting the rest of the interns, kind of understanding the cohort and getting grounded. And then the real work starts the next however many days of the rest of the summer. And for that, it really has changed over the last couple of years. We never would have entertained a remote internship pre-COVID. And last year, there were people that came to the office 3 times the entire summer, and it was a whole new world. So we're definitely a lot more open to meeting our future potential associates where they're at, if it's geographical region, as long as you're in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Mass, or New York. So you could have an experience where you're in your sweatpants every day from home, but you look business appropriate from the top up, and you're in virtual meetings all day, or you could have an opportunity to work out of our corporate office and or in one of our stores. So those first days can vary. Well, the second days can vary. The first day will always be hanging out with me. No worries.
So for Portland Stage, we offer housing. And so our first day of the apprenticeship is usually whenever you show up in Maine. And that, depending on when and how you show up, is usually me welcoming you and giving you keys. Or if you show up at like 11:30 at night, probably not. But so echoing what Jen was saying, everything that you need to know has already been shared with you. And I think that that's how most apprenticeships and internships are, that we will communicate to you all of these little facts that you need and open the space for all of the questions you might have, even if it is already in your email answered 3 different ways. We are always open to answering it again. But our first day is very much like Matt's as well, like getting a lay of the land, figuring out which door to go into, and how everything works out. And then we actually turn our orientation into like a full week of orientation, where we kind of touch on everything that you need to know and also provide enough time for you to get to know the department you're working in. Because like I said earlier, we have 12 different apprentices, and they range in department from costumes to scenery, to education or company management and anywhere in between. And so finding time for you to learn not only about our company and how to turn off the light switches when you leave, but also what you're going to be doing in your apprenticeship for the rest of that 9 months. We will touch on all of that in that first week, but we've found a nice way for it to not be as overwhelming as it sounds. And that's mostly due to, as Jen was saying, like sending out lots of information beforehand. So you have it all accessible for the summer while you're waiting and gearing up to move to Maine or stay in Maine if you're already here.
So your first day in the lab, we go through safety, things you can and can't handle, and techniques you'll go over. It's a little bit like syllabus day. We talk about all the different machinery and techniques you'll learn. You get a tour of all the different facilities at the Research Institute. And then you meet all the different lab members, all the way from your PI down to the individual members. And then you get your own bench and a lab coat and your own lab notebooks. You dive right into being a scientist on day 1.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the equivalent of syllabus day. Like, yeah, this is the lay of the land, and there isn't a ton that's expected of you yet, except to be engaged in the process. Yeah. So I'm mindful of time, and we're running close to the end here. So maybe I think we have time for maybe 2 questions. But the first is, what advice would you give for a student that is considering applying for an internship? And I have completely lost. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I would say don't consider it. Seriously, get after it, right? If you're thinking about an internship, where's the harm being told no? But if you never try, you won't get that potential experience, which could help shape or inform your direction. And that might sound silly, but I've had a number of interns over just the last few years that have come in with a degree focus here, and they're sophomores, and then all of a sudden at the end of the year, they're like, my mom's mad at me, but I am no longer going to be an actuary. I'm going in this field. And I was like, sorry, but it's because of that exposure that really helps you identify, is putting this into practice something that I enjoy, or is it not? I waited tables and bartended my entire college career, so I had no idea. All I knew I liked food, and thankfully I found a grocery store, so my love of food is still there. But aside from that, I would not have known what I liked or didn't like, where I excelled, where I had opportunities or skill sets that I could have leveraged. So I would say, look, get after it, and don't just apply for one. Keep trying. Don't get discouraged.
To echo off of that, I would say apply, like get an apprenticeship and an internship somewhere with a company that you really enjoy. It doesn't have to be in your field of study. It doesn't even have to be in a field that you think you want to work in for the rest of your life. Any one of these apprentice or internships is going to provide a lot of great information for you. And even if you know you want to end up working in a lab, interning at Hannaford is going to help you. It's going to give you the skills, that will translate to other places. Just like Jen was saying earlier, one of the things that they pride you in, or that you pride your internship in, is those business skills with how to communicate. And that's necessary no matter where you work. And that's where you're going to learn it, is in this internship, no matter where you go. So for that, I would say keep applying, get an internship anywhere that you enjoy being. And it doesn't have to be in exactly what you want to do with the rest of your life. You're not locked into it because you did an internship when you were a sophomore. For Portland Stage specifically, I would say that we want someone who is looking to bring joy to the stage and to our community. And so being open-minded and open to learning more is always just the best for us. It's hard to accept an intern who thinks they know everything because it's hard to teach them. When there's always things that people don't know. There are things I don't know that I learn from my interns every day. So just being open for that is the best advice I have.
I think for any student who wants to do an internship, do something you're passionate about. A lot of people who want to do research through the Institute want to be doctors first. And then they realize how cool being in a lab is by itself. And they might end up getting a PhD versus a doctorate in like medicine of some sort. But when it comes to actually doing the USM Maine Health Institute for Research internship, I would just give advice to actually look at the labs, see what they do for research, pick the one that you're actually interested in. We've had people come to us and just said, we love bones. I love everything about bones. And we're like, okay, we do bone research with us. And that was it. That was what, made her stand out among the other applicants, is she was just passionate about what our lab does. So the advice I would give is to do a little bit of background research before you write your cover letter or reach out to that individual.
Yeah, that's all great advice. I just, on my end, preparation goes a long way. We can definitely tell right away because we do a phone interview. So phone interviewing, I know talking on the phone feels like a thing of the past.
Totally.
But that's part of our process. And because we do a lot of work with customers on the phone, that's a skill. And virtual interviewing is a skill. And so your awesome Career Center folks can help you with honing those skills and getting prepared. So preparation, and then really picking a company. I think that that really aligns with you and where you might see some where you're curious. I'll make a plug for the Maine's Best Places to Work list. All of those companies are great companies to work for. And those are great places to start. And don't get locked into industry. I think that it's always tricky territory because all skills are usually transferable across all of our businesses up here. And then the other advice I would give, and this is just from a tactical perspective, which is you're going to be working 40 hours a week. And in our company, it's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, building your endurance to be able to do that and starting that process, especially in the spring, of what it's like to get up at the same time every day and building those that endurance, because that can be a little bit of a slog right out of the gate when you're asked to ramp up to that. So yeah, and I again echo everything that was said up here too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I can't think of a better way to have ended today with all of the experiences that we heard about from students, to have this fantastic panel of just talking about what you see from the other side. So thank you all so much for taking the time this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I know our students will. And yeah, we'll add this video up on our website, and you'll be able to check back and listen to all these great nuggets of wisdom. But yeah, just thank you all so much for taking the time, and hand for our panelists here. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that is it for our internship showcase. And please